Oh my god. Oh my god. Ah! So many books. So many books. Too many books. Too many books? Maybe. No. Too many books? I don't know. End scene. Hi guys. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to the mid-year book freakout tag. I think that's how you say it. This is something that everybody kind of does this time of year because we are at the halfway point of the year. So we're looking back at our goals in January and we're looking at what we wanted to accomplish over the year. And now we're kind of noticing that maybe we are lagging behind a bit. And by we, I mean me. So I am kind of low-key freaking out, but I mean, that's what we're here for, right? The chaos, the freaking out, the oh my gosh, and the I can't believes, and I'm really excited for. So let's get into them. If this isn't the vibe that you're looking for, if you're looking for a bit more chilled, calm, thankfulness kind of video, then I'm gonna send you over to my other video, which is coming live at the same moment as this one. There you can go and see the calmness that I'm gonna be while looking back over the last 6 months, because that is the mid-year calm down tag that Leandra created. So go check that one out as well. But we are here, we are looking at the mid-year freakout tag. So let's get into that one. Talking about the reading in general, I am very much enjoying my reading this year. I am very much on track of finishing my goal. I set my goal, I think, at 120 books, and I knew that I was gonna achieve that at some point. That isn't really a stretch for me. Right now, I read 90 books. I just finished my 90th. And so far, rating-wise, it has been a very good year. I counted. I'm pretty sure that I have 15 5 stars and 11 4.5 stars in the mix. The average isn't as high as I would have wanted, but just thinking back, I do believe that I had a lot of great reads. Hopefully that will continue in the year. But going to the first question, the best book that I've read this year, and that is already a very difficult question because I've had so many. I'm actually gonna mention 4 books, and the 4 books that I have, one is really hyped right now at the second. I feel like I was a bit ahead of the curve because I had an arc for it, and so I kind of discovered it a bit earlier. But now that everybody's like, oh my god, this is so great, I can go like, yes, I know. And then one was a very big surprise for me. The other one is something that has been a favorite of other people since last year when it came out. And then one of them is a very emotional, important book that I think everybody kind of needs to read. So starting with what is hyped right now, that is The Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson. This is a new release that came out this year. I had the arc and I knew right away that I needed a physical copy. It's chunky, it is, but it is so worth it. This is an epic fantasy with court politics, ancient gods, and it's also a genre blend between fantasy, mystery. It has the trope tournament in it, like very different deities and their acolytes going against each other. Court politics, like I said, it has everything. It has everything that you would want from this kind of read, and I can't wait to go back into it. I already want to reread it. I highly recommend. The next book still has a sticker on it. I'm gonna ignore that for now. The next book is a book that everybody and their mother is reading right now, and I'm so glad that I finally read it, and that is Blood Over Bright Haven by M.L. Wang. This is a standalone fantasy, which I love. I love that we have a conclusion in this. I love that the whole story is just told in this one book. We have a very intricate magic system where in the beginning you're kind of just thrown in and you just have to go with it. For a very long time you're like, what is happening? Like, how is that working? But that is by design. So just go with it. It has this kind of typewriter magic going on in a city that is walled off by magic from the outside, because the outside world has been uninhabitable for a very long time, and it is very hard for the only survivors outside to reach that safe haven. And once they get there, it is difficult for them to just be accepted in the society. And we have 2 main characters. We have one of those survivors. He's one of the last of his tribe to actually make it to the city, and now he has to work as a janitor in order to make ends meet. And then you have a young woman. She is the first female mage in this society. The patriarchy is like strong in this one, so only male mages are accepted most of the time. Like once in a decade females are allowed to try to get into this field of work, but they never really expect women to succeed. Now the test has come and gone, and Siona actually does pass the test, but now that she's actually made it into this field of work, that's only where the problems start. And so these two are put together as a team, but they soon figure out that not everything is as it seems. And what I really loved about this book is not only the very imaginative way of putting this society and the magic system together, but also the way that it is a very, very, very clear commentary on our society nowadays. We have the problems that a female has in this world, but we also have the female protagonist being oblivious of the prejudices that she herself has and that she is showing the world and her co-worker because of her teachings and what she has been told of the people from outside of the city. So I thought that was very well done, and if you haven't read anything by this author yet, please do. This was really amazing. Next up is the very big surprise that I had in the beginning of the year, and I already read the sequel to this, and that is Bittersweet in the Hollow by Kate Purcell. The sequel is just as good as this one, and in that one we follow a different sister of this family of witches. All of the sisters have different abilities. In the first one we follow Linden, and she tastes the feelings of others, and I thought that was such a unique ability and also a unique way of putting it into the story. And in the sequel we follow the sister who can smell lies, I believe. And both of these have a very like eldritch magic forest type of situation going on, but in the center of it is always the family and always a bit of a romance in it, and also kind of a mashup of a mystery going on, because in the first one there are people going missing, maybe people dying, something happened the year prior, and the main character Linden, she doesn't really remember what happened, and so she is kind of trying to figure out like why her memories have gone missing. Loved every aspect of it, and can't wait to not only go back and reread this and highlight the shit out of it, but also hoping that the author is coming out with other stories in this family. There are more sisters to come, so hopefully we get their stories as well. And the emotional, important book that I think everybody needs to read is One of the Boys by Victoria Zeller. This I had an ARC for, and I'm so glad that I got approved for it. This is about Grace, and she came out as trans last spring, and now the new school year is starting and football season is coming around again, and that is kind of where the story starts and the problems begin, because she used to be the kicker for the team. She was one of the best of the country, and now the other players on the team kind of want her to come back to be the only female in this team in order to help them succeed in their games. So this book is kind of her trying to figure out not only if she wants to be a football player again, but also what that would mean for her personally, how that would make her maybe feel, how she would be conceived by the society, not only in her little town but also in the world, because of course at some point scouts are coming. So if she decides that she wants to play and that she wants to pursue a career of it during like her college years, it would also mean that she would be like in the limelight for a lot of the time for being the first trans woman in college football. I thought it was so well done. It broke my heart at times, but it also gave me good feelings about society and people in general, because there were, of course, there's like a spectrum of how people reacted towards her. I do have to say that there is dead naming happening. We also have flashbacks to a time before she was trans, so be aware of that. But it also is done in a very unique way of using the second person to kind of put a distance between Grace and that time. That really helped in showing that period where she understood what was happening to her and how she wanted to go on. And I just thought the whole book was perfect. There was a lot of football but it makes sense, and I'm not really the biggest fan of football. Living here in Germany, we don't really have that much contact to it. All in all, just a very beautiful book. Go check it out. Now, the second question is what is the best sequel that I've read? And again, there were a couple that I could mention. Like I said, the sequel to Bittersweet in the Hollow is Lies on the Serpent's Tongue. That could be one. I read it like in January, right after Bittersweet, and I loved it as well. Another sequel that I read and loved this year is also a book where I read book 1 just this year. Loved it, and so was so happy to get an arc for the sequel, and I finally read it, and that is A Drop of Corruption by Robert Jackson Bennett. This is the first series by this author that I've read, and in this we again have a very unique world building, so I was blown away again by this. But again, in the first book I kind of needed a moment to get an inkling of an understanding of what this world entails, what how the magic works, and also it has a very dense writing style, so it always like took me a minute to get back into it. I never really flew through the writing, if that makes sense. So the first one, I think I put like 4 or 4.5 stars in my rating, but with this one, because I already knew what to expect, I just loved all of this. I also think that the mystery aspect in this one is better than in the first book even. So in this world we have leviathans that are attacking the shore, and the only way that people on the land are surviving is by erecting all these big walls to fend off against these leviathans. But once they kill a leviathan, they can use it, all of it, to gain a substance that helps them do magic. And the magic is kind of used for things that we would use electricity for, so there is no electricity in this world. And we follow kind of like a detective who is questioning people after something has happened. In the first one it is a murder, and the second one is a missing person. We kind of follow this detective and her assistant, who are both very quirky, very interesting people as they go about discovering what is behind all of it, because it's not always as an easy answer as it may seem in the beginning. Impeccable world building, intriguing plot, and the characters could be a bit more in depth, but I do believe that we get a bit more of them with each book. So even in this one I was like kind of like, ooh, I still need a bit more, I still need a bit more, please give me more in the next one. But I do believe, like from the ending of it, I do believe that some questions will be answered going forward in the series. And then I just finished another sequel, and this one was actually the last book in a series, and that was The Undercutting of Rosie and Adam by Megan Bannon. This, I just flew through it. This was just like a warm hug. I loved book 1 in the series, and book 2 was okay, but it didn't grab me as much as the first one or the third one, as it turns out. But the third one was really fun. In each installment we follow a different couple in this world, and again in this we have a very unique world. We have a kind of western feel to it, but also a long time ago the old gods were put kind of into a prison by the new gods, and even though the old gods are no longer in this prison, they have since been released and are now stars in the sky. This prison still exists, and there are ways for people to enter this space, but maybe they shouldn't. It is very different in there. The rules don't always apply. There are spirit corpses walking around. It is very dangerous, and so in every book we follow different characters. There are time jumps between the books a bit, so you should definitely start with the first one to get the whole experience of it. But the third book was just such a fun ending to it all, and just again seeing all the other people from the first few books was amazing. But in this one we follow Adam and Rosie, and they get kind of stuck inside of this prison, and they kind of have to figure out a way to get out of there. Interestingly enough, Rosie actually is a descendant of one of the old gods, and so she is immortal and has lived for a very long time, and is kind of sad about it, kind of annoyed by being stuck in this limbo where everyone she meets and everybody she loves leaves her by dying at some point. And I loved her perspective on all of this, on immortality and her way of life. But I also just love the romance in this between Rosie and Adam, because they are so different, and I just think Megan Bannon, chef's kiss, that was amazing. I kind of put my own question in here. It wasn't in the original questionnaire. By the way, all the questions are posted down below, and I think the original creator of this tag isn't on YouTube anymore, but I'm gonna link anything that I will find down below, if that makes sense, but go ahead and do the tag as well if you want to. So I put the question, what is my favorite reread of the year, in here as well, because I do reread a bit, and even though those aren't like the first time I read the books kind of situations, I do want to mention them really quickly. The first one is The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. I reread this to go into the sequel, which I still haven't read. Still love it. It was just as amazing as the first time I read it, and in this one we have a world of darkness where the vampires have taken over. They are basically ruling the world, or one of the countries of the world, and the humans kind of have a very sad life being under their thumb. And the only way that the main character can survive is, even though she is the Vampire King's adoptive daughter, is by entering a tournament where she could win potentially and gain more power. Loved it, gave it 5 stars again. Really want to get back into this series at some point. And then my 90th book that I just finished was a reread as well, and that is Lightfall, book 1, The Girl in the Galdurian. This is a graphic novel. It is such a cute, whimsical illustration style. So I'm so happy that I went back into it. I forgot a lot of the things that were happening in this one. It had been 3 years since I read this, and I still have to read the 3rd book in the series. So I thought I would just start again, read this, reread the 2nd one, and then get into the 3rd one. And I'm so glad that I did, because I had so much fun. If you have not read this series, go check it out if you like graphic novels. This is an adventure story about a girl and she helps her grandfather with the potions that he sells. One day he goes missing, and she goes after him, trying to figure out where he is and how she can save him, because from the context we kind of see that he has dementia, so he always seems to forget everything, and now she's of course worried about him. She is going on an adventure with the Galdurian, which is a race that was supposed to be extinct. Now she's going on this voyage with one of them, and it is again a very interesting world building, where a long time ago the sun was eclipsed, was broken, was taken away by an evil force, and since then they only have these artificial lights that keep the darkness away, so it's always light, and they are afraid that someone or something might come back and bring down these lights, plunging the whole world into darkness. And I love the first book. I can't wait to get into the 2nd one, which will be probably very, very soon. Going back to the questionnaire, the next one is, what is a new release that I still need to get to? And that is The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillick. I really enjoyed the first book of her other series. So this is a fantasy, and we follow this seer who has visions given to her by these mythical omens, but she's only supposed to have them for a certain amount of time, as kind of a deal for being taken in as an orphan. And now this time comes to a close, but all of a sudden the other seers around her go missing, and she needs the help of a knight in order to figure out what is happening. So we kind of have again not only the romance, but also a genre blend with mystery, where something is happening, and I'm guessing something bigger is at work in the background of it. I've heard nothing but great things about this one, so hopefully one of the next reads. Then we go on to upcoming releases that I'm excited for, and oh my god, a lot of my anticipated releases are coming out in July, so let's get into them. I'm just gonna quickly mention them. There are a lot. So in July we have the prequel to The Spell Shop, The Enchanted Greenhouse by Sarah Beth Durst. I loved The Spell Shop. It was such a cute, cozy fantasy, and this is basically the prequel to it. So think mythical creatures, cozy fantasy, found family, all of those good things are in there. And keeping the theme of cozy fantasy with like magic in it, I also have an arc for A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana. This is finally being released. It has been pushed back and back and back, but we now finally have a release date, and that is in July. And going off the title for this one, because I'm not really sure about the synopsis, I just know that it's gonna be great. It has to do with kind of an innkeeping, and there's magic, and I think there is enemies to lovers in this one, but I'm not sure. In July, and I can't believe that I got the arc just like last week, and when I got it I was like, so excited, but at the same time I'm like, oh my god, it's already like June, end of June, and in July it comes out and I need to read it right away. So that is The Last Tiger by Julia Reeve and Brad Reeve, and these are siblings, and I know about this book because of Bookstagram and everything that they're doing, because they wrote a fantastical version of the way that their grandparents met in Korea. The whole idea of it is so beautiful, the cover stunning, and so I am gonna eat it up. And then in July also there is the third book in the Five Broken Blades series, and that is by Mike Corland. And the third book is called Three Shattered Souls. The first book was still okay, but the second book really brought it home to me that I am so excited for this series to continue, especially now that I think that the title always gives us kind of an inkling on where the book ends, because we have 6 people going on this voyage in the first book where they're trying to kill the king, but the problem is that he's immortal, so they kind of have to take away his immortality in order to kill him and stop him. And so we have 6 people, but it's called Five Broken Blades, and so on and so forth. So yeah, so excited for this third installment, and I can't wait to get into it. 2 more books that I want to mention. I'm not sure when the second one is coming out. I believe October. But the first one is, again, something that I've been waiting years for. And that is Scorched Earth by Danielle L. Jensen. We, of course, know her, or most people know her from the Bridge Kingdom series. And that was kind of a big break. But I know her from this series. And to say that I have been anticipating this final book where all of it comes together, oh my god. Oh my god. It is very different from her other series. I feel like the romantasy that is very hyped at the moment is very prominent in her newer books, and this series is more of a YA fantasy with romance in it, because we have, again, a series where we have companion novels of different love stories that are set on different parts of these continents, and they all go towards one end of the whole plot, and that is supposed to be in Scorched Earth. So I have been waiting years, I think it's like 4 or 5 years since the last book came out, and I can't wait to see how it all turns out. I think I want to do a read-along for the whole series starting in July. That I kind of had the idea a couple of days ago to do that, because I do want to reread everything before going into the new book. I think I would just do kind of live shows where we all read the books together. And then we have I'll Find You Where the Timeline Ends by Kylie Lee Baker, and just, I don't even know what it's about. I'm guessing multiple universes or multiple like lives that they live. I don't care. It's Kylie Lee Baker. Last year and this year have made this an auto-buy author for me, so whatever she comes out with, I'm gonna read for sure. Next up, we're gonna freak out about all the books that still need to be read this year. I mean, we still have 6 months, it's fine, it's fine. I have 4 here where I believe I have reasons for saying that I need to read these. The first one being Faithbreaker. I love the series about gods, about killing gods. I loved book 1, I loved book 2. Why have I not started this third installment? I don't know, it's crazy. Again, hopefully something that I can remedy during my vacation time. I don't know. It has become something very epic in its way, but the first one is very much a kind of road trip kind of fantasy where we follow different characters who are trying to reach a city where the last gods of the continent or the country are placed, because there had been more of them, but the new king has kind of decreed that they are forbidden. There's like open season on all gods. And we follow a god killer, a young girl who is bound to one of the gods and is trying to figure out how to not be. And then we have an ex-knight, now baker, who is also trying to figure some stuff out. And in the second one, we kind of expand on this whole voyage and on this whole experience. And now this is the conclusion, and I need to get to it. I finally want to read The Ninth Reign by Jen Williams. This has been on my radar for years at this point. I hear people gushing about it. They say it's amazing. It's one of their best series that they have ever read. And even though a lot of people have talked about what this is about, I couldn't even tell you. I don't know. I want to know. Let's get into this one. The next book is Mark Lawrence's The Book That Wouldn't Burn, and the reason that I need to read it this year is because I just bought the whole trilogy without reading the first book. But I have read from this author before, so it should be okay. But I'm like, why am I doing this? But I heard good things. It's about a library, so that's always a plus. The only thing that's kind of daunting on me right now is that this is the first book and it's so big. I mean, why is the first book the big one? The sequels are way shorter than this one, so I don't know. I just need to do it and sit down and start reading. But these kinds of tomes are very like intimidating. And the last book that needs to be read this year, hopefully very soon, is something that I need to return to a friend because I just got it from her to read, and that is A Memory Called Empire by Arkady Martin. This is again a book that everybody is gushing about. I think it's a fantastical sci-fi, so there are elements of both in it, and I heard it has a lot of politics in it, and I heard nothing but good things, so I have been meaning to get to it, and now my friend has loaned me her copy, so it needs to get read. Two things that I added to this questionnaire is books that need to be finished and series that need to be continued. I have a lot of books that I'm currently reading that I still need to finish, but the two that I just need to shake my head about are The Teller of Small Fortunes by Julie Leong, has been on multiple of my TBRs already, as well as Celestial Monsters by Aidan Thomas. Again, why have I not read this? Both of these are like highly anticipated books. This seems to be a very like cute, cozy fantasy, and this is a highly anticipated sequel and finale to a series, and I have started both of them, needed to put them aside, but they need to be read. I believe they will be very highly rated once I finish them. And then the two series that I need to continue, like that I need to prioritize, is one that I already mentioned before, and that is the sequel to The Serpent and the Wings of Night, and that is The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. Now I have heard that this isn't as great as the first book, but I want to continue with the series as a whole because these are like a series of duologies. They all are set in this world. I have read a standalone in this series, but I still need to continue with this one so that I then can start the next duology, if that makes sense. The ending, I wasn't really the biggest fan of the ending of book one, so I don't know, the starting point of this is kind of like to me, but hopefully it can surprise me and get me to love the series as a whole. And the second one is a series that I have started this year, and the second one is The Tainted Can by Taran Matharu. I really enjoyed the first book. It has dragons, it has, again, court politics, it has a very unique POV of a young man who has been enslaved his whole life and is now seeking a way out of it and stumbling upon a dragon egg and being bonded to this little baby dragon. If that's not cute, I don't know what is. I do believe that we have a lot of potential for the sequels, and so the sequel is now out and I need to get to it before I forget everything about book one. Biggest disappointments. I have two. Malice by John Gwynne. Really didn't like this one. Everybody is raving about the series. I gave this first book 2.5 stars. Epic, yes. A lot of different characters, yes. But yeah, this was a debut, so it makes sense because I read the sequel and I liked it way more. Still not the biggest fan of the series, gotta be honest, and I still need to continue with Ruin, but yeah, book one, I probably would have not continued with the series if there wasn't a read-along for this at the moment. It was a lot of repetition. It was very much a setup for the rest of the series without having too much plot in itself, and there were just no women in it. There was one POV of a woman, and that was only to highlight how great her brother is, and just every character was just, no. A lot of daddy issues in this one. And then the second one, sadly, is Feybound by Sarah Al Arifi. I had such high hopes because I love the cover, I love the premise of it, that in this land we once had humans, fae, and elves, and now only elves are left, and there's a big war going on and everything. And I do think the plot holds up, but just the writing style, it was horrible. And then the plot itself just kind of dwindled out, but just I remember being like, is this a joke? Because I read from this author before and I remember liking it, and with this one I just it was really bad. I don't know. I got the arc for the sequel before reading it, and now I can't read the sequel because I just don't want to. It was really bad. And I know arcs are there for us to give us our opinions on, but I believe the publisher and the author is going to be happy if I don't put out my thoughts on this series by reading the sequel. So I believe that's fine for them. Biggest surprises. I have two again. First is Kings of the Wilds by Nicholas Eames. I had such a good time with this one. It has a humor that just hit the spot for me. We follow a group of old mercenaries who are now getting the band back together in order to help one of their own, and you kind of see like all the steps they have to take in order to get the band back together, and everybody's kind of like, ugh, my back is killing me and we're old, why are we still doing this shit? And it is so much fun. I have the sequel to this one, or the companion novel to this one, and I can't wait to get back into it because the humor is just exactly what I need. And this really truly was the biggest surprise of all time, I believe. And that is A Fragile Enchantment by Alison Saft. This has mid ratings, so I wasn't even gonna pick it up because of those ratings, but then the German edition of this came out and I wanted to talk about it at an event that we were doing, so I just thought, okay, I'm just gonna start it and see where it goes, and I just ate it up. This is Bridgerton but with magic. You follow Neve, who is a tailor, and her creations have reached even the court and the royal court, and now she is asked to be the tailor of the next royal wedding. And so she gets thrust into this whole court politics event where she doesn't really belong, but because of her status as this new big fashion icon, she gets to be right there in the middle of it. And of course she also gets to know the groom-to-be. Now, he doesn't really want to get married, and the bride doesn't either. It is very much a political thing. And so we see these very beautiful friendships and maybe even more blossom. And this was it for my soul. This just made me happy. It just made me happy. It made me giddy. I needed to get a physical copy just so that I can later go back and annotate because it's so beautiful. The magic is like very special, that where she can like put emotions and feelings and memories into the clothes that she makes. For example, he doesn't want to be seen by anybody, so she makes it that their gazes glance over him when he's wearing the jacket and stuff like that. It's such small things. Like, her magic isn't big, not very flashy, but it's so beautifully interwoven into the whole story. And I loved that in this we don't really have the big villain, because everybody, even those that are working against them, or even the people that seem bad, so you don't really have the typical evil bride or evil stepmom or these kinds of things. They all are very much like authentically human. if you get my drift. So this was everything. This was everything, and I can't wait to read more of this author. The next couple of questions are new favorite author, new fictional crush, or new favorite characters. And I don't really do fictional crushes and characters. There were some that I liked, of course, or else I wouldn't have probably liked the book either. But I don't really tend to remember them like specific people. But I would definitely say Kate Purcell is one of the authors that I'm keeping an eye on, as well as Alison Saft, of course. Kylie Baker is an author that can do no wrong, in my opinion. So all in all, I believe that the first half of the year was great for me to find new authors to follow and like. So instead of fictional crush or character, I'm going to talk about my favorite audiobook narrations that I listen to. Like I said, Kylie Baker, new favorite author, definitely. And the narration for Bad Eater, amazing. Of course it was, because it was by Natalie Naudus, and her books, she's the reason why I get audiobooks sometimes, just because she's doing the narration. Love her. The Raven Scholar has an amazing audiobook as well, narrated by Daphne Kuma. Yes, 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 beautiful. And then I read Garden of the Cursed by Katie Rose Poole. Jennifer Blom did such an amazing narration in this one. Ah, yes. Like everything just fit perfectly for this one. As well as Amanda Dolan for Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole. Wasn't the biggest fan of the book itself. I think I only gave it 3 stars, but the narration of the audiobook, perfect, great. Need more of that narrator. So I thought it was important for this new kind of category in this questionnaire. And these are only from the moment that I put down the names of the narrator, because I usually say like, yes, I like the audiobook, or no, I didn't really like it. But I only started maybe a month ago to put down the exact name of the narrator. It's just so that I can keep an eye out for them. And I think that was the best thing that I ever did. So I will keep looking out for those amazing narrators. Then we have what was a book that made you cry? And for that I have Blood of a Brighthaven. This broke me in no small parts, really. Amazing, loved it. And I had to stop trying the first chapter when I was in Waterstones because it made me tear up. That's how I knew that I needed to buy the book. And it just got worse after that, crying wise. And then we have also the first book I think I finished this year, and that is Veronica Roth's Arch Conspirator. This was a retelling and I didn't know the original story, so I didn't know where it was going, but the ending broke me. The whole thing is just a short novella, but it packs a punch. Really loved that one. And then we have what book made you happy? And like I said, A Fragile Enchantment. This was just a hug in a book. This was just beautiful. This made me giddy. This made me happy. This made me laugh. Really loved it. And then I have Dungeons and Drama by Christy Boyce. And this, again, was kind of a surprise in a way that it's stuck in my mind, because it is a very typical like YA story about girl meets boy. Girl is very much a musical nut and he loves playing Dungeons and Dragons. They kind of interact and they start to fake date in order to make other people jealous, and the story goes from there. But what made it stand out to me is that at one point she starts playing Dungeons and Dragons with him and his friends, and she chose to be a bard for the game and starts singing whenever she does something in the game. And the first thing that she sings is Say My Name by Beetlejuice. And I don't really know Beetlejuice. It has never really been something that I was interested in, but I looked up a female version of that on YouTube, and oh my god, I was obsessed with it. I still am. I still go back and listen to it because it was so well done. I'm gonna leave it linked down below if you don't know yet. And that was just one scene in the book, but it just made me so happy that I just needed to mention it right now. And the last book that I want to mention for that category is The God in the Kishin. The God in the Kishin by Sophie Kim. This is the sequel to The God in the Gumiho. It's not as high in my ranking as the first book, but again, this made me so happy. It went into such an absurd way of telling a story, of these characters interacting. It was so funny. And just without spoiling anything, just know that a god dies, but because he can't die, he just gets reincarnated. So instead of there being like a body, they kind of have a baby now that they have to babysit while they're trying to figure out this murder mystery, and it is such a fun way of going about it. I loved it. I laughed out loud a lot of the time. The next question is the most beautiful book that I bought this year, and again, I couldn't choose. I have 3. I kind of wish that for the first one that I'm going to show you that I had a hardback, but the store that I was at only had the paperback, and that is Lord of the Empty Isles by Jules Arbeau. This is so beautiful, and I feel like this gives me the coziest, beautifulest sci-fi feel. I am obsessed with this. I'm hoping to get to this one soon. It is very much compared to Becky Chambers, and I'm like, yes, yes, yes. So let's get into this one soon. And then I have A Dance of Lies, and just this cover alone made me go, yes, I need to read this. I need to know what this is about. This is very much, again, court politics with someone who has been sent to prison, I believe under false pretenses, and now she is able to go out and get her life back, but only if she spies for the king who put her in prison. So I love that dynamic. And then again, The Night and the Moth I love this cover. From the first time I saw it, I loved the duality of it. I just loved the split in the middle. Loved it. Think it's beautiful. And then I have one more question that I put there myself, and that is that I should show you a book that I am proud to have finally read. And that is Iron Widow by Ziran J. Zhao. This has been on my radar forever. Ever since it came out, ever since it got hyped, everybody was amazed by it, thought it was amazing, told me to read it, and I finally did now that the sequel is out. I even read the sequel right after, so I'm caught up. I'm hoping that the next book in the series, I don't know if it's trilogy or it's going to be longer, I hope that we don't have to wait as many years as we did to book 2. So I'm glad that I waited until the sequel was right there for the taking, but I loved it. Glad everybody kept screaming at me to read it, and I'm really proud that I finally managed to read it. Yay! Ending on that note, on being proud of reading is better than freaking out about all the books that I still need to read this year. So I think that was a good choice that I did there. So let me know down in the comments what your answer to any of these questions would have been. Let me know especially your favorite reads of the year so that I can keep an eye out for those. And if you want and haven't already, go check out the mid-year calm down tag that is up now for you to watch. And for the rest of the year and until the next time, I hope we all have amazing reads. Bye!